I'm Evie. I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand. So because I'm in New Zealand, I'm an activator here. I'm going to start with a little karakia to start us off. So here we go. Let's get myself organised. Tutawa mai I runga, tutawa mai I raro, tutawa mai I roto, tutawa mai I waho. Kia tau ai te Māori tū, te Māori ora ki te katoa. Haumie, huie, tāiki e. Welcome everyone. This is great to see you guys all on this global activation call. As you know, I've just said, I'm an activator here in New Zealand. And the reason we have these calls is to experience the SheEO community, and for people who are new to the community, to get to know the community, to get to know, what we do here, and also to invite people that we'd like to be part of this awesome community to get a feel for what we do and the magic that happens with SheEO. These calls happen once a month, and yeah, it's an opportunity for us all to get together and find out a little bit more about each other. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off with some information and inspiration from the SheEO's Director of Systems and Emergent Strategy, Danielle Cadhit. She's going to be first. And then we've got an activator, one of our activators, Sky Bennett, who's on the call from Australia. She's going to talk to you about the activator's experience for herself. We've also got one of our ventures here to talk to you about the experience of being supported by the SheEO community. And that is Renee Gargiulo from Atutahi. She's a New Zealand venture. And then we're going to go into some breakout rooms to connect a bit more and to find out about the core SheEO programming. And there's going to be some specific topics that we can look into depending on the breakout room we choose to go into. And then we're going to come back to the main room for reflections and to close. How's everyone feeling? Everyone just want to give me a thumbs up or a, we're all on different time zones. We're all from different places. Yeah.
Feeling
cool.
Good.
Yeah, lovely to see you all. Okay, so Nat, you've got a little video to play us, I think. First off.
That I do. I'm so excited to play you this video. It's one of my favorite things to share because for me, it really tells a story about what is SheEO and what are we actually doing here. So I'm going to share my screen and off we go.
6 years ago, 500 women stepped in and followed the dream.
This is really a global network of change.
I want to build a legacy. You can't do that alone.
It gave us a vehicle to make the change that we wanted to see.
Yeah, I found my people, right?
SheEO had to be created as a community because all of those other systems failed. And so the honesty around how really hard it is has been refreshing and inspiring.
They are serious when they say that they are interested and invested wholly on the well-being of entrepreneurs who are literally taking care of the world's to-do list.
If you need something for your business, please ask for it. This is your space, this is your time.
It didn't feel like closed doors anymore. It just felt like the more I asked, the more doors that opened.
We had the support we needed to finally believe in ourselves and grow.
I always knew that there was a different way to do business.
SheEO has put us on the radar. For the federal government now, we've just received over $500,000.
It's because of that group that I felt safe enough, that I felt strong enough to root down and to stand up and to ask for what I need.
We need your voices because our world is stuttering, and we need your wisdom and knowledge and your feistiness.
At SheEO, we often talk about how transforming systems start with transforming ourselves. And I do think that this work, this personal work that's often extremely uncomfortable, is really where we need to start.
And if you need a kick in the butt, dream it, design it, quit screwing around and just do it.
We believe here at SheEO that everyone has something to give and contribute no matter what age or stage you're at.
All of my dreams are coming true that I've been dreaming for a long, long time.
Fabulous.
Hi,
Now we've got for some more feistiness. Now it's time for Danielle Cadditt, Systems and Emergent Strategy Manager for Director for SheEO.
Thank you, everyone. I love seeing that video. I've seen it countless times, but it is so inspiring and one of my favorites. My name's Danielle. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an activator based in Canada, and I've been on the SheEO team for just over a year now. And alongside the work that I get to do every day here, transforming self and systems, one of our core practices is to incorporate a rest cycle that flows with the seasons. And this means that our team takes a week off every quarter to pause, restore, and prepare for what comes next. So last month during our rest cycle, my spirit knew that it needed to be immersed in nature. I found myself on a beautiful beach by the ocean one day where I noticed the tentacles of a jellyfish emerge in the shallows. Now, pause and take a moment to picture a jellyfish. Did you picture its umbrella-shaped bell top and the tentacles flowing underneath it? Now, to my surprise, this jellyfish was upside down. So in an act of saviorship, I found a nearby sturdy leaf to attempt to flip it over, and I did so successfully. So I began to watch and wonder and started to notice that it looked like it actually wanted to be upside down. So I'd flip it over again a few times only to find it overturned with its tentacles facing the sky. So following my curiosity, I actually came to learn that there's a species of jellyfish called a Cassiopeia, whose natural state is what we deem to be upside down. It faces tentacles up to get fuel from the sunlight, and it forms a symbiotic relationship with the nearby algae in a photosynthetic manner in order to thrive. Mind blown. I could not help but connect this experience to my own life and work so far. Systems of oppression, dominance, and supremacy were trying to flip me upside down from my own natural state almost all my life. I was the upside down jellyfish. So hands up in the room if you've ever felt this before, or tentacles up, should I say. Until I came to SheEO, I didn't think that I had a place to safely flip myself back to my own natural state. And in joining this community, I really have felt the depth of our interconnectedness and that we have an abundant symbiotic relationship with one another that really has the potential to generate so much more than we ever thought we could on our own. This community generates opportunities to return to our natural state, connected, vibrant, and whole. Being part of our community is simple. You come as you are, on your own terms, with an open heart. We gather together in many ways to unlearn destructive thinking and support impactful work. We practice radical generosity toward ourselves and one another. We have a regenerative economy of capital, connections, wisdom, and influence. And we create the space for you to bring your whole self and all of your unique gifts. I'm here to challenge the systems that tell us that we aren't enough and to create opportunities for others to trust and transform together. We exist here to spark hope in the world that new ways of being and doing are possible. So to my fellow upside down jellyfishes, you are welcome here. This is a community that we get to co-create and experiment with together so that this feeling of interconnected wholeness becomes our new global narrative. Speaking of new narratives, if you haven't heard yet, SheEO will also be changing its name to align with the new narrative and vision for equity, reciprocity, and inclusion. We are actually in the midst of crowdsourcing a new name with our community, which is a very unconventional approach in the branding world. And if you're feeling called to discuss this initiative and co-creating a new narrative, I would love to see you in the breakout group I'll be hosting later called New Name. Thanks, everyone, and back to you, Evie.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Danielle. Now we're going to hear from one of our activators. And this activator is in Australia, and her name is Sky Bennett. Hi, Sky.
Hi, thanks, Evie. Hi, everyone. I'd first like to start. Thank you, Nat, Arden, all the organizers for inviting me to share my experience with you today. So I'm an activator. I'm based in Melbourne in Australia, like Evie mentioned, and I've been an activator for about the past 6 months. I joined in late 2021. However, I actually went to my first SheEO event in early 2019, which was a global activation event, very similar to this. It was a bit in person, it was a bit online. And since that event, I've actually been really closely following SheEO ever since. From the moment I joined that first event, actually, I can't believe it's back 3 years ago now, what was really apparent to me, what really stood out, was the spirit of generosity and support that I was really felt in the community and in the room that I was in. It was so apparent to me. And it was something that, in addition to just wanting to support SheEO Ventures, which is what drew me to SheEO, it was also that feeling of radical generosity, of support, that really drew me to this community and kind of kept me hanging in there for a couple of years. I'll be honest, I didn't really feel quite ready to activate at the time. However, now that I have, and on reflection, I really wish that I had just gone for it after I attended my first global activation event, because the supportive and radically generous mindset that is really at the core of this community is really something it's quite unique. And as Vicky mentioned in the video, everyone has something to give at any stage. And I wish I kind of knew that at the time. So I felt so welcomed the minute I joined this community, and even my first community call, I felt so welcomed by Moira. I know you're there in the audience, and also the other activators really welcomed me with open arms. So since becoming an activator, I've become involved in a local project. It's called Know Our Community. And this is where I got to meet other activators and get to know more about all the different and wonderful people that make up this rich community. And through doing this, I connected with a number of activators in my local area here in Melbourne and in Victoria. And we're now planning our first SheEO community meetup. It's going to be for next week. And I'd have to say, it is so wonderful to collaborate and connect with radically generous people. I just see the radical generosity and ask give in action when I connect with the other women who are organising this event with me. So for anyone here in the audience, if you are in Australia or locally, you're absolutely welcome to join us at our first community event next week. So in closing, what I will say is, if you are considering activating, I would encourage you to totally just jump in, join the community, experience the SheEO magic. I've really found it quite impactful in my own life, and then the great connections that I've made, and I just love it. So, so do it. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Evie.
Thank you so much, Sky. I really resonate with everything you just said. How organised are you guys getting a meetup together? Nice work. Okay, now for our next wonderful wahine who's going to be speaking to us. She's a fellow Kiwi, fellow New Zealander, Renee Gargiulo. She has a venture called Atutahi, and Atutahi is a beverage range of drinks that are made from Indigenous New Zealand native leaf with proven impacts on well-being. And we are really proud, well, I personally am super proud because I voted for you, Rennie, in the voting for Ventures, absolutely, that you're here with us to talk to us about the impact that SheEO has had for you and your business. Over to you.
Kia ora, everybody. Thank you. I'm always very nervous when I speak, so excuse me if I stutter, but our business is Kiwi Kind. We brought out a range, like Evie said, of natural native botanical drinks made from New Zealand native leaf. And I'm so honoured to be a part of the global SheEO network. Entering the awards for me helped me discover my business on from a different lens, from a female lens rather than a business lens, filling out the application and doing all the writing about myself, but in a SheEO manner, just really helped me discover, you know, like what it's like to be a woman in business. I'm so flattered. I found my link to an awesome community. I've been overwhelmed with the support, and I actually wish there was more hours in the day so that I could contact more of you lovely women all over the world. We're about to launch into Australia. Our drinks are going over. The dates have changed a wee bit with shipping, but we are right. The drinks will be in Australia on the 28th of this month, and I've had contact with 2 women in Australia already, Julie Trowell and another lovely lady whom I can't remember her name, I'm sorry. But yeah, these women have just come to my beck and call, well, not my beck and call, but you say, ask for something with SheEO and you definitely get replies. So be prepared. If you're ever going to enter the awards, I'm just blown away. Every day I'm blown away by the amount of assistance that I've had. Thank you, Vicky Saunders. And, doors keep opening, and the generosity from these women is absolutely amazing. I'm really feeling like my year is nearly finished. So I want to make the most of these last months with all of you lovely ladies, and we'll definitely become an activator afterwards. It's such a cool world to be amongst with the SheEO woman and the generosity that they offer. And I can see my business grow. It's up to me to make this happen because there is so much support out there. It's now my turn to, make it work some more. But thank you. And thank you, Vicky Saunders.
Should we have a little bit of a Q&A? Because I'm quite interested in your experience so far. That year has it's gone so quickly, hasn't it? And if anybody else has got questions, please throw them in the chat or take yourself off mute and ask Rennie some questions. But I was really interested, Rennie, if you hadn't become one of SheEO Ventures, what would your world look like right now in your business?
Quite lonely. I often felt like a penguin on an iceberg or by myself, but with the SheEO world, it's like we have an immediate abundance of assistance, people that care. I wouldn't say staff, but just women that care. It's helped me move forward, especially having my mentoring with Lauren and another couple of ladies. They're just really encouraging, and listening to other women talk, especially on our global Zooms. I've listened to a lady called Minka in Australia, and her stories, hearing everyone's stories as well. Their stories are amazing, and we're all in the same boat, really. Just there's a lot of intelligence sitting there that is untapped.
Kia ora. Absolutely. Hi, Sophie. Sophie Nicholas wants to ask, how did you find SheEO?
How did I find out about SheEO?
I believe that might be what Sophie means, yeah.
Yeah. So they had a SheEO meeting in Nelson, actually, at the Chamber of Commerce many years ago, and I went along to it. And then one of the activators in our region tapped me on the shoulder for 2 years running and encouraged me to enter the awards. But I also looked into it more online as well, and I felt quite nervous. I didn't think I had enough time, but it was the prompting from the activator here in Nelson that really made me step forward. So, yeah. And also we have the famous chair sisters here in Nelson, who they've done so well, and the whole town's very, very proud of those young ladies. And I always thought, oh no, I wouldn't be good enough. And oh my gosh, that was so wrong. So yeah.
So glad you realized you're wrong, and so happy for you and your business. Very excited for the future. Right, I think it's time. Thank you so much, Rennie. I think it's time for us to do our breakout rooms, yeah? So one of the things about SheEO that the SheEO magic happens because SheEO is great at building relationships and leaving space for us to build relationships between each other, right? And so with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to go into there are 5 different breakout rooms you can join. And what those breakout rooms are going to do is either answer your questions because you're new here. How do we do things here? What is this all about? Or they're going to go a bit more of a deep dive into some of the things that perhaps if you're already an activator, you might be curious about, or even if you're not an activator, you can join any of these breakout rooms, right? So the rooms are going to be SheEO 101, and that's a place for you to come if it's the first time for you here, if you've got questions about SheEO and the activator experience. There's another room which is for venture applications. It's an intro to venture applications, if that interests you, if you're curious about the venture program and the application process. Yeah. As Danielle mentioned, there's one called New Name, and that's to have a bit more of a dive into the exciting initiative to crowdsource a new name for SheEO. And then the last 2 groups are Ask Give groups. And the Ask Give groups are to practice radical generosity. You'll be in an Ask Give group if you have an ask that you say if you're blocked or you need something else for the next stage, or you're looking for some specific resource to help you out, you can ask the group. And you can go to the Ask Give group if you'd like to be part of that reciprocal process, if you've got something to give, or you just want to hear how you might be able to support other people, go into those groups. And also if you've got just something, if you don't have something specific to share, but you're really interested in how they ask, you know, if you want to be in the Ask Give group, go for it. Get into that one. So Nat, are you going to explain how we get into these breakout rooms?
Yes, I've just put the breakout rooms in the chat. I'm going to open them now, and you should see a breakout room button appear on the bottom of your screen or pop up in front of your face. Either one, click at the bottom or click in, and you'll see a list of the breakout rooms there, and you'll be able to join the breakout room on your own. Pick the one you want and head right in. If this option doesn't appear for you, no fuss, just means you have a slightly older version of Zoom. Put in the chat what room you'd like to be in, and Arden can help you get there. So the rooms are open now. And so you should either have seen something pop up in front of you, or on the bottom of your screen, you'll see breakout rooms. Click in, pick the room you want, and you can do that. You can enter that room by hitting join or the number button next to the name of the room. Again, if that doesn't work for you, no fuss. Just pop what room you want in the chat and Arden will move you there. Okay. We'll take a second to get everyone organized. I'm going to head into my breakout room, and we'll see you back here in about 25 minutes. Get ready, get your energy ready, figure out where you're feeling. I'm really excited. So we are going to share, and we're going to say 3, 2, 1. Ah. Amazing. And then you don't know what slide you were on, so maybe you're on slide 2. If you were, let's reset and do it again. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Thank you all. Been a pleasure to spend time with you today. Evie, back to you.
Thank you guys so much for coming. This is always a pleasure to be in this group. And oh, by the way, there's always a summary put on SheEO LinkedIn. So if you're on that platform, if you're on LinkedIn, look out for a summary of this, and you can share it around, especially if you'd like to invite other people that you know to activate or find out a bit more about SheEO community. Keep an eye out for that. Just in closing, I'd like to say I've been an activator for 2 years, and I came on board because I'm actually a newsreader in public radio here in New Zealand, but I also have a startup, which is a feminist buy now, pay later, so feminist afterpay. And so I came on board with SheEO, not as a venture, but as an activator, because the only people that are going to redress this balance that needs to be addressed are women. And if you have the ability to be part of this community and to do it, jump on board, because we're doing it. And it's taking too long for real change. And this is where real change happens. So I would really encourage you, if you're thinking about activating, to activate. So thanks so much for coming on board. And we'll see you at another get together. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you. Have a great day.
So much fun.
Thanks, guys. Really
great. Would love to stay in touch with you all. You need to know where to find me on LinkedIn or on email. Thanks, everyone. Nice to see you. Hope that those of you who are in Sydney are staying dry-ish.